Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a Conquest video on the 17th Conquest for Darkside raid. Today is Sector 3, the squads that we were using, the feat progress that we made, trying to be as efficient as possible throughout the process, the disk set that we've built out and the choices that we had, and then how we tackled the boss nodes. For the global feats, you can see what I was saying at the beginning of this whole process, where most of this was going to happen just incidentally, where we are basically done with unaligned force users, American Shinhadi being in the squad, and Nightsisters were halfway with crit chance down, and a little under halfway on Galactic Republic. The rest we haven't been looking at. For our Sector 3 progress, we only completed 2 out of 4 feats, although we were basically done with accuracy down. But I did not approach this in the most efficient way. I figured it out by the end of things, but by then we had already made so much progress that it was not enough to make up the difference. And the mistake I made was trying to use the Captain Enoch squad a little too much in the early going. That is not the best squad to be using here, even though it might make Death Trooper Paradia more effective. It is not the most efficient for feats. And unfortunately, I didn't pay enough attention to my own prep work because I had already had the most efficient squad here. Because with this Imperial Remnant squad, Scout Trooper is giving accuracy down, and we added Judge Death here for those Paradia wins. But there was a second mistake that I made, which is with Scout Trooper in particular, the accuracy down happens on his basic, and I was not prioritizing the attacks with the basic here. And had I done that a little bit more effectively, I think we would have completed those final 2 that we needed to complete the feat. The other squad that we were leaning on a good amount of time was this no leader squad with stuns, where Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke are here to help out with stuns. But the other thing that I should have done, and I did this at the later end of this sector, was include Cad Bane, because Cad Bane is another character that inflicts accuracy down, and it is on basics. And the final squad we were leaning on was Darkside Online Force users, because they have a lot of accuracy down as well. And anytime we were reaching a node that other squads couldn't handle, this was the squad that I was using. And I probably used it a little too much throughout this sector, especially as their stamina got depleted, and they weren't being very effective. Overall though, I think this one should have been a 4 out of 4. I think this was just very poor execution on my end to finish at this level. For our data disks, this is, I think, entirely unchanged from Sector 2, although some of these are replaceable, like this Guard and Penetrate is taking up a lot of space, and I don't think helping out too much. But overall, I've been very happy with this set. I think there's things on the margins we can do to make this more effective, though. At the first fork, we had some nice options between Spirited Speed, Caustic Emissions, and another speed. Down below, even more speed and a defensive formation. We just grabbed one of those speeds. Easy to slot in, and overall, just a solid enough disc. At the crossroads, we had a power in the top, some decent green stuff in the middle, and a critical debuffs and hone skills at the bottom. Critical debuffs I could have threw in for the thermal exhaust synergy and the debuff synergy that we have with the other discs. But ultimately I just went with solid intel because I like it enough, and it was towards the better node that I wanted to fight with Phoenix coming up next. At the second fork we have a blue defensive formations and a critical debuffs, gray amplify agonies. I will grab those sometimes if I have none and it's late, but I already have a green amplify, so I'm not going to grab a gray one at this point. And down below, opportunity, support, stacking fervor, thermal exhaust. Stacking fervor is actually one I like quite a bit, but in this case I go with the defensive formation, partly because it's a blue, partly because it's a single dot and that I can always throw into a set, and that one I like in general. I definitely prefer the recovering protection on attacks out of turn more than the buffs recovering protection, or when attacks out of turn or buffs is recovering health. It's particularly nice on gas squads. At the final node we had Premonition Undercover and another Undercover. We already have a green Undercover. Premonition I almost grabbed, but as far as a 4.1 goes, I don't really care about it that much, so I just grabbed this blue Undercover. It's just a small upgrade on what we already had, and I was already using it in the set. Hopefully it just adds to the survivability of some of these 3-star characters that we're attempting feats with, like Shinhadi, Merrick, maybe Hu Yang coming up on one of those later nodes. And at the start of Sector 4, we had this green Vitality, so we just grabbed it. The other options were no no good. With our Sector 3 boss node feats, we have Morgan Elsbeth surviving and Mercenary units. Both of those are fairly straightforward. With our Elsbeth surviving, just a Great Mother's squad where I brought in Asajj Ventress again. And this is one where I decided to add some stamina to Elsbeth to make sure she survived the battle. Our goal here is to, first we're going to Doom Bane, take him out quickly. That eliminates the biggest threat. And then we're going to just take out the side characters, leaving Malik for last. And Malik, just because he is going to take a long time regardless. Part of the reason we have all this footage sped up is because he's going to take a while. But these side characters will go down quickly, and we're just trying to set ourselves up for a quick advantage where the side characters can't be a threat to taking us out or causing any issues with this win and doing it at full stars. So now we're working on taking out Maul quick. Maul blows up. Now we've doomed Malik, and this is going to take a minute to wrap this up. But you get the idea. And you can see we're applying armor shred. I know there's an issue that they've been talking about Reddit as the armor shreds aren't counting. That I wasn't paying attention to whether or not it was showing up in the feat counter or not. One of the reasons we left him for last is the thermals do % health damage, and that's not we weren't getting help from the discs. For the mini-boss Mercenary win feat, I attempted Dash Lead. That just wasn't going to cut it with Shinhati and Merrick. Maybe we could have found a version that worked with other characters. I just ended up very quickly switching to Django Lead Mercenary Bounty Hunters. We have Fennec with the armor shreds. We have Cad Bane with accuracy down on the basic to help with the sector feat. And Chrysanthemum with a taunt. And this is just going to be very effective. Once we get the contract, we can ignore taunt and just go after whoever. Or land a couple armor shreds over on Malik. So we're going to jump to the full screen. Then we're going to take out the side characters just to make things easier. They're going to go down fairly easy anyway. But I always try to build out an advantage if I can. And right now I can very easily, with no effort, build that advantage. You can see basically taking out those characters with Fennec back to back. Bane goes down quickly. And now I'm going to just start working on Malik, actually. I believe I take him out before Savage. And it's partly because there's just a lot of recovery going on with Savage that I just decided I didn't want to deal with. And then I started applying the armor shreds to Malik, and then Fennec just started doing big damage. And he goes down. Wasn't really the plan, but it turned out to be pretty effective. And then I think thermals eventually take him out right there. And accuracy down is completed. The Sector 3 final boss, this is super easy. You can use a ton of different teams to take care of the Padawan, Sabine feat, and the only dark side characters. I did not use the dark side online force users, the Third Sister squad, for this one because I was out of stamina, but there's a lot of different variations. For the Padawan Sabine squad, just doing this JML lead with Watt for the permataunt to protect her and surrounding her with some strong Jedi. And this one, I think we can speed up a bit. This is straightforward. She just needs to live, so we don't even have to worry about calling her for assists. But this squad will just ensure that there isn't a lot of risk to her, especially with those stuns from Jedi Knight Luke, keeping everybody controlled, and everybody's going down quickly. A little protection up on Sabine. I even call her for an assist just to do it, but this is basically over as soon as it started. And with only dark side units, you could do this with your Inquisitors for that dark side online force user feat. But at this point, mine were completely depleted in stamina. That wasn't really an option for me, so I just did these Hutt Cartel characters Cad Bane for the accuracy down, and no lead by throwing in Chrysanthemum into that front spot. You can just kind of see by this point how inefficient I was being with that no lead feat. Definitely going to do better next month with that. But here, this is just easy and quick work. The only thing that I'm trying to prioritize here a little bit is using the basic ability with Cad Bane so that he can apply those accuracy downs, except for not that turn. But Jabba, even though he's not the leader, he's still calling in assists. Getting a couple extra applications of accuracy down from Cad Bane. You can see there I'm prioritizing the basic, but this is an easy one. There's probably a ton of solutions, but this one, if you have Jabba at least, you can see that you can do this with no lead. Partly though, maybe that's because of the strength of the data disk that we're using. And we will wrap it up there. We'll be back tomorrow for Sector 4, maybe even Sector 5, depending on the progress we make. Sectors 1 and 2 will be right over there. Actually, maybe we'll do Sector 2 and the overview video below. But thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.